So this is a quick little mini lesson on factoring. Just wanted to, I spent some time on another video doing a bunch of multiplications of binomials to help you see patterns. And if you haven't watched that video, you should. And if you haven't done that worksheet on your own, you should also. In fact, even after watching the video, you should go back and do it again. That's worksheet 2.1. Because the more you multiply binomials together with your brain engaged, the better you'll get at factoring. Because what you recognize is when you're looking at a trinomial like this that you want to factor, in this case, you know that 3x squared comes from these two terms are multiplied together. So we know that a times c is equal to 3x squared. And we also know that b times d is equal to 2. b times d is equal to 2. So in other words, whatever number is in this position and whatever number is in that position, that's what's going to give me that 2. And so and most people understand that. But the key is this last one. Where does the 7x come from? Well, the 7x comes from a combination of a times d. Whoops, a times d I said. Plus b times c. So sorry for all the a times b's and all that. The b's are confusing you, but the key is to understand that these two come from multiplying the outsides and the insides. I'm sorry, the first and the last. And this one here comes from multiplying these other ones together. So when I go to do that, when I go to factor, what I'm doing is I'm going like this, and I'm remembering where they came from. So I know that a, even though I don't know where a and c, what a and c are, I know that when I multiply them, I have to get 3x squared. So the only options here are 3x and x. That's the only way I can get 3x squared, by multiplying two things together. And then second of all, I go over here and think, okay, I have to multiply two numbers together to get 2. So that, again, my only option are 2 and 1. But the question is it 2 and 1? Or is it 1 and 2? Okay? And how do I figure that out? Well, that's where the middle term comes in. So I know that 7x has to come from this times this plus this times this. Okay? So notice down here that if I do it, I get a 2x and a 3x, which will not give me 7x. But down here, when I do that times that and that times that, I get a 1x and a 6x, which do give me 7x if I add them together. Okay? So that's the pattern that you're trying to look for. You got to remember that this middle term always comes from multiplying two different pairs of numbers together and then adding them. Okay, so this is always going to come from adding two things together. And then if you go back and watch the other sheet, you'll notice what the plus plus means. You know, we've talked about that. So knowing that if I have 3x squared plus 7x plus 2, knowing that the last, this last term, this 2 comes from this times this, that tells me that these signs have to be the same, right? Otherwise, because if I multiply a negative times negative, I get positive 2. Or if I multiply a positive times a positive, I'll get 2, positive 2. So how do I know which one it is? Well, I look at the middle term again. If I add two things together that are both negative, I'm going to get negative. If I add two things together that are both positive, I'll get positive. So that tells me it has to be this one. They have to both be negative. And likewise, if this would have been 3x plus 5x minus 2, well then, the fact that that's negative tells me that these two signs have to be different. They have to be plus and minus. Because if I multiply a positive times a negative, I'll get a negative. They could be negative or positive, doesn't matter order, but I know they have to be different. And I know that when they add them together, or I'm actually looking for a difference, and I'm looking for a difference of positive 5. So if I put a 3x there and an x there, then I'm looking for a difference of 5. So I'm looking at probably 3 times 2, which is 6, minus 1, which is 5. So I want the 2 there and the 1 there. But I want my middle term to end up positive. And right now you can see it's going to be negative, can't you? Because negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x, plus 1 is negative 5x. That's not what I want. So I have to change these so that this is negative and that's positive. That way I'll be getting a positive 6x minus 1x, which will give me the 5x. Okay? So that's just a quick kind of summary of what you should have got out of the long sheet where I was just noticing things as we multiply binomials together. All right.